Reddit is one of the most interesting websites on the internet. It's more than just a link aggregator, it's more than just an online bulletin board. It's a hub to discover what people are talking about on the internet right now. And on top of that, there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of subreddits to explore, based on specific topics. Food, music, movies, video games, education, science, whatever it is you're into, whatever it is you want to discuss, Reddit has a place for it. But the story of Reddit is a very, very interesting one. How did a small idea about aggregating links turn into the front page of the internet? How did a simple idea become one of the most popular websites on the internet? Well, today I'm here to discuss that. So today we're going to look into the story of Reddit and examine what is Reddit. Reddit was founded in 2005 by Steve Huffman and Alexis Ohanian as a link aggregator in which users would post links to articles they found interesting, and then the community at large could decide to upvote or downvote them. The name Reddit came from a phrase the founders wanted to be associated with their new site: I read it on Reddit. In Reddit's early days, a flurry of fake accounts were created in order to drive traffic to the site, ensuring visitors wouldn't be greeted to blank pages. The first linked article posted to Reddit was a story about the Downing Street memo. The first version of the site was an incredibly bare-bones shell of what it would eventually become, a stale bulletin board with a 2000s design. Reddit received $100,000 in seed funding, which allowed the company to aggressively expand. In December 2005, the ability to post comments was introduced. Not long after that, the company merged with Infogami, which in turn created a new holding company called Not a Bug. 2006 is when Reddit really hit its stride. Aside from the main website, NSFW became the most popular subreddit, with programming becoming the second most popular, and when r/Science launched on October 18, 2006, it quickly became the third most popular subreddit. In February 2006, Reddit set up shop in an apartment in Somersville, Massachusetts, which became its headquarters until late 2006, when an opportunity arose. On October 31st, 2006, publishing company Conde Nast announced they would be acquiring Reddit for just under $20 million. Shortly after the acquisition was finalized, the company relocated its headquarters to San Francisco, California. The deal gave Reddit the financial security that would secure its future, but it also steered them towards a roller coaster collision course that would change the site's direction forever. With the resources of Conde Nast behind them, Reddit began to aggressively expand. In January 2008, users were given the ability to create their own subreddits. This move rapidly expanded the amount of subreddits overnight, which included r/Pics, r/WTF, and r/Funny, to name a few. With the exception of the 2008 presidential election, the new subreddits didn't capture more than 50% of Reddit's attention. From 2008 to 2012, there was an exponential increase in the amount of subreddits that were being created each day. Reddit would continue to grow in popularity throughout 2008 and 2009, but their founding fathers would not be going with them. Steve and Alexis announced they would be leaving Reddit behind to pursue other interests. Steve moved back to Virginia to form Hipmunk, while Alexis formed Breadpig. On July 9, 2010, Reddit announced one of the most radical changes in its short history, Reddit Gold, which gave users the option to donate to the site on a monthly basis in exchange for exclusive perks. This move was made because Reddit's revenue was low, despite them being under the ownership of a corporate conglomerate. They launched the program without the knowledge of their parent company, Conde Nast, who were shocked by the stunt until they found out it made 6 figures in a single weekend. Reddit Gold remained in place and has been one of the site's key features ever since. In a 2010 restructuring of Conde Nast's digital operations, Reddit's importance to the company became questionable. Up until that point, they had left Reddit to their own devices, not worrying how it would make money. But after 4 years of ownership, Reddit's losses and lack of revenue became harder to ignore, which is why they decided to spin Reddit off as an independent company in September 2011, where they would be free to hire their own CEO, ad sales team, and figure out its own route to profitability. Conde Nast's parent company, Advanced Publications, retained a stake in Reddit and still to this day is the company's largest shareholder. Now that Reddit was independent once again, they exploded in popularity, becoming the front page of the internet. They also went through numerous PR nightmares that put their reputation into question. Yishan Wan was chosen as Reddit's first CEO in March 2012, and one of his first duties in his new position was to defend one of its most controversial subreddits. Anderson Cooper publicly lambasted Reddit on his CNN show for a subreddit called Jailbait, in which users submitted sexually explicit photos of underage girls. Yishan defended this, stating, quote, "We stand for free speech. We are not going to ban distasteful subreddits," end quote. A few months later, Reddit users outed the identity of what they thought was the Boston Marathon bomber, except they got the wrong guy, which forced Reddit's general manager Eric Martin to publicly apologize in a lengthy blog post on the company's official blog. Despite the controversy, Reddit continued to explode in popularity, garnering 1 billion page views a month in February 2011, and then a year later they were garnering 2 billion page views a month. Their overall page views were 37 billion in 2012, 56 billion in 2013, and 71.25 billion in 2014. With the success came more controversy. In June 2014, the controversial subreddit Beating Women was banned because one of the moderators posted a user's personal information online. Community manager Alex Angel gave some reason as to why the subreddit was banned, stating, quote, "After we banned those individual moderators for their actions, you idiots added them back on new accounts to keep moderating your subreddit. Quote, your mod list is full of people who have been banned and banned and banned again, and you can't be trusted to keep things on the up and up. That is why your subreddit is banned," end quote. And if that wasn't bad enough, another controversial subreddit manifested called The Fappening, which consisted of photos from the 2014 nude celebrity leak. A week later, it was shut down. On November 13th, 2014, Yishan Wan stepped down as Reddit's CEO after only 2 years on the job. He was replaced by Ellen Pao, who was named interim CEO, while Alexis Ohanian returned to the company as executive chairman. Under Pao's leadership, Reddit began to go in a different direction as they continued to crack down on controversial content. Case in point, the banning of a subreddit called Fat People Hate. 4 other subreddits were banned, including Ham Planet Hatred, Trans Fags, Neofag, and Shit Niggers Say. Not long after that, Director of Talent Victoria Taylor, who oversaw the popular AMAs, was fired for reasons that have never been publicly disclosed. Many people began to revolt against Reddit, including members of the site itself, as they were unhappy with Pao's leadership and direction. Tensions became so heated that numerous subreddits temporarily shut down in protest. There was even a petition calling Pao to resign that received 160,000 signatures. Eventually, Pao would resign, stepping down as interim CEO on July 10th, 2015. She was replaced by co-founder Steve Huffman. The story of Reddit is a very interesting one. It's evolved from a simple link aggregator to one of the most important sites on the internet. Regardless of how you may feel about its stances on controversial content and free speech, the impact it's made on the internet cannot be overstated. With a total of 11,400 subreddits, it's more than just a popular website on the internet, it's the front page of the internet. And it all started with a little virtual alien. The reason I made this video was not just because Reddit's one of the most popular websites on the internet, but it's also because it has a very interesting story. And I'm very glad that I was able to tell that story. Now, I was aware of some of the history of Reddit. I was aware of the whole Violent Acres debacle. I was aware of the subreddit banning, and I was aware of the divisiveness of Ellen Pao. But how that all came to be and the whole history, that I didn't know, and that was really fun to uncover. Where Reddit will go from here, I don't know. Back in the day, the owners were very hands-off when it came to subreddits, and users had the ability to moderate their own subreddits, and they still do. And it's quite funny how they said, oh, we're not going to ban distasteful subreddits. You know, we believe in free speech, no matter how unpopular. And it's so funny when Ellen Pao took over, they started to crack down more and more on controversial content in order to risk offending others. Because, you know, when Reddit was small and it was kind of unknown, they could take a more hands-off approach and not really care what people were doing. But once they became more and more popular and there were a lot more eyeballs on them, they just couldn't afford to do that anymore. They were worried about their public image, and they had to maintain that more than anything, which is why a lot of the controversial subreddits were banned. And some people thought these were progressive and sensitive, and they praised Reddit for doing this, while others believe that Reddit has gone totally PC and is not trying to offend special snowflakes and is essentially purging content that doesn't align with their views and how they think things should be. It's a debate for sure, you know. Whether you believe Reddit is progressive and sensitive or PC, that's just a matter of opinion, really. But I do think it has a lot of life left in it. I think it has another decade ahead of it because it's just very interesting. Regardless of how you may feel about how they run the site, regardless how you may feel about some of the things that they've done over the last few years, its impact on the internet and internet culture in general has been utterly profound. It's more than just a collection of thoughts, ideas, and opinions. It's a hub to find out what people on the internet are talking about right now. It's a central bulletin board to find out what's going on the internet and in the world in general. And it's where a lot of people tend to get their news, which is understandable when you consider that, you know, old media and new media alike is really untrustworthy and extremely clickbaity. So, as long as Reddit doesn't go too far off the deep end, they'll be fine. And yeah, I think it's a great site. I go on it every day. It's very useful, and yeah, hopefully it will long live and prosper. Live long and prosper. I'm sorry, I'm jumbling up my words. I'm really tired. Yeah. Well, that's all I gotta say. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces. Stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue an outro sequence now.
No. There is no possible way that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 could be better than the masterpiece that is Batman v Superman. This is an outrage. This is an atrocity. Wait, I now know what I must do. This means war. This requires payback.
Now that's more like that'll show those paid Marvel shills.